Good morning, Malta and Gozo, and welcome to another edition of Lovin Daily. I'm your host today, Chris Pregine, joined by Jonathan Chilia. Yesterday there was the big match, England-Denmark, which England won 2-1 with a sort of controversial penalty in extra time. Did you watch it? Are you excited about the big England-Italy?
You know, I think Malta is very hyped for the final this Sunday. There was some carcading in Mosta where I live. I was wondering if people were going to go out carcading. Obviously, Italy versus England, a major match. Now everyone's looking towards Sunday.
And I think there'll definitely be some carcading then. These are the headlines for today. So a Filipino woman pled not guilty to murder in Melilla. An MP has hinted that the Maksar brothers, who are charged with two high-profile murders, paid cabinet member 200,000 euros for professional services. The central bank has prohibited checks of under 20 euros to fight money laundering. Maltese mother has pleaded to normalize breastfeeding in public, and parents of a boy in school were told that they need to cut his long hair to reduce school bullying. So there's a lot to discuss today. We can start with the first story, John.
So a tragic, murder that happened in Melilla a few days ago has finally reached court yesterday. A Filipino woman, Mayumi Patiksal, has pleaded not guilty to the murder of Marcelino Saraza. Both of them are 44 years old. Both of them are Filipino nationals. They were living together in Melilla. Yesterday, Patiksal appeared in court for the first time. She was wearing black. Her arm was in a sling, and it was revealed, that she's a cashier at a beauty salon, and that shortly after the murder, she had actually been hospitalized herself. She's being charged with the murder, and if you remember, it happened on the 2nd of July, in the early hours of the 2nd of July, and the man, Marcelino himself, was found face down with stab wounds to the head and neck. So now it's finally hit court. So over the next days and weeks, we will be seeing a bit more about this case.
It's worth saying the victim as well was a bus driver, right? Mm-hmm. Motor public transport. And we'll keep following this case and seeing how it develops. Yesterday, the nationalist MP Jason Azzopardi took to Facebook to hint that the Maksar brothers, who have been charged with the murders of Daphne Caruana Galizia and Carmel Kirkop, paid a cabinet member, so a minister or a junior minister, 200,000 euros for professional services. He also said that another cabinet member bought a boat from the Maksar brothers. He said this, interestingly, on Facebook, not in Parliament, so there isn't that sort of parliamentary privilege safeguard for him. I guess he could be sued on this. And he said it in the context of something the Prime Minister said earlier in the day, that if he is to prevent Rosiane Cutajar, one of his MPs, from contesting the election, so should the opposition leader Bernard Grech be prevented from contesting the election for his own tax issues. I guess this is, another one of Jason Azzopardi's posts on Facebook, and which sometimes turn out to be true, sometimes are a bit more dubious. We need to see sort of what happens, but again, this kind of connection between members of cabinet and this sort of criminal underworld, right?
It's just the latest in a seemingly endless list of payments, fees, brokerages deals between, politicians, cabinet members, and questionable other people. Now, it's important to note that the cabinet member here has not been named, so I do think, a lot of people are going to be wondering who exactly is Jason Azzopardi referring to, and the cabinet member themselves must be, really worried if this is true. And it is worth noting that, till this day, Rosiane Cutajar has denied any wrongdoings as far as her Medina property deal. Moving on to the next story, quite an interesting story that might be affecting, a certain group of Maltese people. From 2022 next year, Maltese people will no longer be able to issue checks under 20 euros. So if you use checks under 20 euros in your day-to-day life, you're going to have problems from 2022. Now, this comes as the Central Bank of Malta is doing a push to kind of, increase the way Malta approaches financial crimes, money laundering, and this comes among another list of directives. So any checks over 5,000 euros will only be able to be deposited into the beneficiary's own account, And another thing that's quite interesting is checks will no longer be able to be future dated and be accepted in any bank, which is a practice that's actually quite common in Malta. It is good to see that the bank is kind of cracking down and issuing new directives to fight money laundering, but I do wonder, 20 euro checks, is that, going to be hurting millionaires and potential money launderers, or is it just going to be harming the elderly and the vulnerable, who are typically the ones that use such low value checks?
Yeah. It seems strange, right? I can't get my head around how that helps the fight, but I think it's interesting as well that a lot of different moves are being done to try and get us off the grey list and try and fix sort of Malta's difficulties in this area. So yesterday there was a sweet human story as well, that a mother, Leah Kamenzuli, put up a nice photo of herself on Instagram breastfeeding her baby, and she spoke a bit about how this needs to be normalized, because there are a lot of people who still find it very uncomfortable to see women breastfeeding their babies in public. And she said, don't fuss about what other people are saying, but just focus on your priority, who's your child. And lots of mothers contributed and shared their own stories about being not treated very well when they do breastfeed in public. What do you think about this, John?
It's 2021. Like, the idea that a mother breastfeeding her child in public is going to offend you is quite mind-blowing to me, especially when you think, like, where do you want them to go? Into a dirty bathroom, run into a restaurant, or find a McDonald's and run into the bathroom? No, I think it's quite insane to be at all shocked or offended to see something very natural happening in public. And it was very interesting. Online, many people were in agreement with Leah. One woman said, quote, "It's sad to see this is actually still an issue in 2021. How can feeding a child be offensive?" Which is something I fully agree with. Do let us know in the comments below, what do you make of breastfeeding in public? Does it offend you or shock you, or is it something that you totally accept? And this actually relates a little bit to the next story, another story that kind of cuts to the center of Maltese society in 2021 and our older values and our modern values. A Maltese, two parents, were left shocked. The mother was left in tears after the head of a church school that their young son is going to enroll in told them that they needed to cut his long hair if he wanted to be part of the school. They said that it would help them cut down on school bullying and also help them reduce head lice, which is just strange to me, because if there are girls in the school with long hair, then if we're really talking about head lice, they should have to cut their hair too. So, the father who spoke to Lovin Malta said, listen, we're trying to raise our children in a way that is not gender defined. And as far as he's concerned, if his child has long hair and he's neat and tidy and well kept and doing well at school, he doesn't really understand why he needs to cut the hair. He said, I haven't seen any evidence to show me that long hair will impede his educational journey. And he even said, quote, "These kids are going to school, they're not entering the army or some religious order." Now, it is important to note that Maltese church schools take a very hard line against long hair. I myself was suspended from St. Aloysius when I was like 14, 15, just because I had a bit of curly hair till here. I know some other kids who were in St. Edward's who had a bit of long hair that were literally taken down to a barber during the school day to have their hair cut. It's very nuts. Now, obviously, I'm talking, a few 15 years ago or so. I would imagine that things have progressed, but it seems like they have not.
It seems so strange, eh? Like, why would they care so much? Like, they say bullying, but so, even just that idea, that, that's how we're going to tackle bullying, by making someone sort of change what, so if a girl has short hair, we're going to sort of say you've got to grow that because otherwise you'd be bullied. I don't know. Also, maybe it was just like a bit of misplaced advice, that was like blown a bit out of proportion. But you've had your own personal experiences with this.
It is very real. It is very real, and they do tell.
I don't remember this at school. I don't remember anyone sort of being forced to have long or short hair. It's strange to me. But that brings us to the end of our show on Lovin Daily today. Don't forget to subscribe to Lovin Digest. Just click on lovinmalta.com and you'll see the newsletter sign up form over there, and that will give you a digest in the evening of the stories that we write throughout the day. Keep following Lovin Malta and have a day full of lovin'.